What's going on, everybody? It's DJ Sketch and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to take a look at two games that are featured on the Arcade Hits pack from the Nintendo Wii. These being Gunblade New York, released in 1995, and LA MachineGuns, released in 1998. Back in the day, Sega was basically the kings of the arcade. Most releases would push the envelope of what an arcade experience could be, especially in the late 80s and early 90s. Enter Gunblade New York. As quoted by its US promo ad, the Big Apple has been taken over by hardcore, armored android soldiers. The situation has come to a deadlock, and time is running out. Strap into the Special Air Assault Force chopper for an insane ride. Operation Apple Storm is underway. This one was developed by Sega AM3, in which you'll fly through 8 levels of fairly faithful recreations of popular New York landmarks, including Times Square, Battery Park, Brooklyn Bridge, and the main streets of Manhattan, just to name a few. Gameplay is all over the board and also is extremely fast with a very sweepy camera, which will be later ported to the Wii in all of its full entirety. The camera is pretty wild, I have to admit, because the path will basically take you all over the screen as if you're just kind of taxiing back and forth between each perspective area. And this one can be a bit jarring, I will not lie to you, but it's something that over time you can get used to if you can actually handle how much the camera moves. It's fairly similar to Cloverfield, if that makes any sense, and if you can remember that movie at all. But also at the same time, it does kind of provide a bit of realism as far as what it would be like to fire a unlimited ammo machine gun from a helicopter cockpit, which is fairly accurate, it seems like, in this game. Though it's relatively short, there's a lot of fun to be had with unlimited ammo and unlimited continues, branching with 2 paths that follow 4 stages each, 1 easy path and 1 hard path, all leading up to a final showdown at the end, which will have you being celebrated and commended for your tireless efforts in ridding New York of the android threat. Next up, we're going to look at the sequel to Gunblade, LA MachineGuns, released to arcades in 1998. The sequel to Gunblade New York, this time developed by Sega AM3 and 4, which has some visible polish to the graphics this time around, running on Sega's Model 3 hardware. Similar to the original, you're once again taken to the skies, trying to wipe out any and all androids, but this time, instead of being in the chopper, your vehicle's been redesigned to a sleek jet bike, which looks like something you may have seen in Akira during the sewer scene. This game, although a little bit shorter, with only 5 levels this time around, actually includes, again, some faithfully recreated spots around the West Coast area, including LA, Alcatraz Prison, and the Las Vegas Strip, to name a few.
There's more of them coming in!
This one leads up to a massive plane final boss as the final showdown, and once through with this one, you're treated to a welcoming celebration in your honor by once again wrecking the android threat. Along with Gunblade New York, I really highly recommend the Arcade Hits pack if you have a Nintendo Wii, because both are available for that. And also, it's really not that expensive. It's going up there a little bit, but again, it's absolutely worth it if you like rail shooters. And for fans of Sega arcade games as well, I cannot recommend this enough to you. Gunblade New York in particular May not be a looker by today's standards, but at the same time the gameplay is fast, frenetic, and it's actually a lot of fun to play, especially if you have a buddy to bring along on the voyage. This is a definite must play, and if I had to give a number to this package as a whole, I would give it a 8 out of 10. You can blast through both games within the course of about maybe an hour if you do all 3 paths put together, but at the same time it's an hour that you'll definitely have some good times with, especially with infinite credits, all continues, and never having to reload. The action will never stop until the game is over.